Hey guys, welcome back to another segment with Ask the Doctor, and today we're asking Dr. Nick Little here about golf. And so, Nick, I guess kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us what you're passionate about.
Sure. Yeah, I'm a physical therapist. I did my schooling at Andrews University in Michigan. Some of my passions are working with golfers, working with athletes that do a lot of rotational movements.
What are some, I guess, common things you would prescribe for, let's say, the thoracic rotation? What are some
Yeah.
things you would do?
Yeah, absolutely. One of which, we tend to be, as a society or population, to be tight, reaching our arms up over our head, which is also thoracic spine extension. As we know, rotation and extension are coupled motions together. So one of which that we would like to do could be a simple cat camel or something to allow thoracic spine extension. So something like that.
Nice.
And then we can work into, if that's starting to get more comfortable, something where we're working on our hands and knees, rotating up toward the ceiling, something like that, just to again provide the proper mobility through the thoracic spine.
And let's say for motor control for the lumbar spine, you mentioned that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. There are things that starting, on your back or on your side where you're just creating the right intra-abdominal pressure, creating the stable position so that we're not overarching, we're not over-flexing, we're just creating enough stability in through our lower abs or in through our midsection. So one of which could be lying down on your back, creating what we call the McGill Big Three. So something where you're lying on your back, you're supporting your lower back, making sure that you're creating tension in your abdominals, raising the elbows up, lifting the head up a few inches, and just maintaining that pressure for upwards of 10 seconds, practicing that daily. So we've got our forward motion, then we can turn to the side, do something like a side plank where we're also creating the right position. That way we're getting used to lateral flexion as well as forward and backward extension, those kinds of things. Something as I like to take a bar or a cable, and I'll do something where we're kind of loading in through one leg at a time to promote more single leg balance, just to kind of challenge our body a little more. And we can do a rotational cable pull, something like that, where again we're focusing on not overarching, we're not side tilting, we're creating rotation with the right abdominal pressure, something like that.
I guess what would you recommend to me, someone like me, to improve my hip internal rotation?
Yeah, there's a lot of drills out there
Right.
that you can do and you can focus on. One of which that I like is, basically your knee windshield wipers or your
Okay.
hip IR/ER.
Okay.
So something where you're sitting down, you've got yourself supported on your hands here, where we're going butt down, knees are bent, and we're trying to keep the hips relatively stable
Okay.
from pivoting too much, and we're allowing those knees to drop in
Okay.
and then out at the same time. So we're kind of working on both hip mobilities at the same time.
Yeah.
And obviously if there's pain with that, we can adjust that and focus a little bit more on specific areas if we need. But that's a really good way to introduce rotation into your hips.
Okay, awesome. Well, you heard it first from Dr. Nick. Talked about the thoracic rotation drills, talked about more intra-abdominal pressure and just being stable first in multiple planes, and then kind of progressing to making sure you're able to move in those patterns.
Yep.
And eventually making sure that your hips are mobile enough, because that's where the follow through happens, right?
Yep.
And I know for me, after I swing a few times because of my stiff hip, my my left knee kind of bugs me a little bit, but that's because I ran out of room.
Yep.
And so I need to work on these drills a lot. So if anyone out there is listening, having problems with their golf swing, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to help. And that's kind of what we do to help people move better, perform better, all the above, right? So, all right, guys. Well, thanks very much for listening. We'll see you next time.